Hello to everyone attending this presentation today. This presentation is about finding reliable sources to help you as first-year students. This presentation was created by Genesis Munoz Alvarado, Tabitha Maddox, and Carlene Using. On this first slide, we are going to look at the different type of sources. A source is something that provides information about a topic. They can either be written like books or websites, or non-written like photographs or artifacts. There are three kinds of resources. Primary sources are original sources of information. They are firsthand evidence from people who had direct connection to it. This can be sources such as letters, photographs, poems, interviews, among others. One example is, for instance, Maurice Carey's notebook. Secondary sources are, on the other hand, interpretations of original research by one or multiple people. It is secondhand information that are, for example, books, journal articles, textbooks, among others. Tertiary sources are sources that identify, index, or consolidable primary and secondary sources. For example, they can be textbooks, handbooks, directories, and websites such as Wikipedia. When you are trying to figure out if a source is credible to use, there is a method that you can use to determine if the source is reliable. The CRAP test stands for currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. Currency refers to the date when a source was created. Relevance is to ensure the source is relevant to your research or topic. Authority refers to who the author is and who published the source, as well as the credentials of both. Accuracy is used to ensure that the source is being supported by evidence. For example, does it answer this question? Is it verifiable? Or is it a reliable study? Purpose states that what the motive behind the publication of the source was. For instance, why was it written? Does it contain any biases? We can also check if a source is reliable based on these main points. Is the source peer-reviewed or referenced? Has it been reviewed by experts in the field prior to publication? What are the references and citations? Is the information backed up by evidence and other sources? We also want to make sure the methodology is clear. And finally, looking at research authors, what are their qualifications? How often have their works been cited? Finding credible sources on the internet is very important. The internet contains a vast amount of resources that can either be good or bad. Just by typing into Google the word cake will result in thousands of results. So how do you spot the good from the bad? Here's some tips. Let's look at the domain, which is the name of the address used to access the website. Also, to make sure at the URL, which is at the end of the domain. For example, we have .com, which is commercial and open to anyone. We have .biz, which is used for smaller companies. We have .info, which is the common domain and is open to anyone. We also have .edu, which is for universities and community colleges. We have .gov, which is for government and it's strictly regulated. And we have .org, which is for nonprofit organizations.
So how do we determine the web page we choose is the correct one? Keep in mind the best web sources have a clearly identified and credible author, date of publication or last updated, a scholarly purpose, they have an appropriate level of language, and they present unbiased or reliable approach to information. Let's look at this example. First, let's look at the URL. As we can see, it is a .gov, meaning it's a government domain that is strictly regulated. Below, we can see the date it was published. Next, we can see the author information and the copyright and license information. Finally, we see the abstracts stating the scholarly purpose. Here are some recommended good examples of where you can find reliable sources: Google Scholar, Galileo Scholar, databases, and libraries. Now we're going to do a fun activity to test your knowledge on how to find reliable sources. And here's our reference pages. Thank you.